Hello and welcome to this video for elite outdoor fitness with bulletproof bodies. In this video we're going to show you how to do some myofascial release with the spoon. This is an old school way of doing it, but it means that you don't have to purchase any expensive equipment. I do use rock blades by Rock Tape as my myofascial release tool of choice. However, a spoon can be just as good and easily found in the kitchen. So you need a teaspoon with a rounded edge, and then what we're going to do is we're going to apply that to an area where we know we're going to get some of that myofascial tension or stickiness in the tissue, and that's on the joint line. So if you can see my wrist crease there, that's what we call the joint line. Okay, that's where the wrist meets the arm, and what we're going to do is we're going to get the thin edge of the spoon. Okay, I've got the curved bit on the outside and I'm using my index finger just to stabilize that. I've got my wrist in full extension, and all I'm doing is I'm just traveling down the length of the arm. And we're just going down the length of the arm there. And then I come back to the joint line and I'm doing the same thing. And the same thing again. Now here I'm feeling a little bit of gristle. Okay, so that tells me where the stickiness is, and normally when you get stickiness in the tissue you just kind of stop, so the tissue stops. It doesn't slide and glide the way it should do. It slides and glides and then the tissue stops, and that's indicative of some of this myofascial tension. So now we've assessed the area, we know some of the tensions there, particularly over the wrist joint. We're just going to a little bit of moisturizer on there. And what this does is it provides a barrier so that you don't graze the skin. What we want is redness over the area, but what we don't want is grazing of the skin. So now I've got that barrier cream on, I can work just across the tissue there and get into the stickiness of the tissue. Particularly for your wrist flexors, this is ideal. Those of you that do a lot of pull-ups or a lot of weights, and we're just working over the tissue there. You can see that my wrist is going a bit red, and that's exactly what we wanted, bringing blood flow to the area. I can feel some of the tissue stickiness there. You feel like a gristly feeling, okay, maybe a bubble wrap feeling. We're just working over there. You see, I'm working quite fast, and I'm just loosening off all that tissue of the wrist flexor. So I'm not grazing the skin, really tight over there I am. And I'm just working over there. No grazes to the skin, but some nice blood flow. A little bit of what we call erythema, which is where the skin goes red. And I'm just working into that flexor compartment of the wrist. Okay, so now when I'm trying to extend my wrist back, imagine I'm doing some sort of front rack or front squat, some Olympic lifting, that now feels much easier. Okay, feels much better. If we look at the comparison between the two, okay, it feels much easier to get that wrist into extension on this side than the other side. So I'd need to do both sides. So there you have it, using a spoon, a little bit of moisturizer, and that will help you increase the range of movement in your joints, particularly things like the Achilles is really good for that as well. So if you just pan down and assess just either side of the Achilles, is a perfect way of doing that. You're going to get loads and loads of tension there. Okay, could be there all day if we're working the lower limb, because obviously if you're tabbing, running, yomping in the heels, that's where the tissue stickiness can get you, and that accumulates over time. So unless you're taking care of that on a weekly basis, that's going to come back and bite you in the bum. So well worth doing. Myofascial release with a spoon. Go and have a go.